Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the NXT review for April 5th, 2011. We slugged through season 5 of this, what is a dreadful show, right up until season 6 or 7, when it goes much more episodically and gets away from the game show thing. Once again, we use Maurice to get attention on things. Matt Striker also returns to his announced position. And obviously, guys like Darren Young get lost up in there, and they still have wars with guys from the past. Basically, in short, we see babyface after Talkie Talkie. We see a lot more babyface towards Titus O'Neil, which obviously they're going to use him for something in the not too terribly distant future here, just by the way this is being planned out. Tag match, Conor O'Brien and Jason Novak are the baby faces. Or actually, this is a singles match. Looks like a tag because both pros are standing on the apron like they belong until you realize that Kozlov, who is the pro for one of these individuals, anyway, is standing there in a sling. Anyway, so O'Brien manages to stay on his opponent, work the arm, does the Arn Anderson step over onto the arm. Really basic stuff, nothing worth necessarily writing home about. Inverted leg lock attempt, and Novak having some issues. Just odd to see a more mat wrestling style from a guy like Conor O'Brien, who could have a power advantage but isn't working the match that way. The match actually comes off worked kind of awkwardly. Finally, Novak comes up and manages to go after the leg and knee of his opponent and stays on him for a while, then gets some ride time with a reverse chinlock and other things. JTG out there with his pro, and I mean, things are kind of going in a decent enough way. Conor O'Brien eventually does get things going his way, and needless to say, O'Brien has impressed his pro Kozlov pretty consistently. The storyline continues with Lucky Cannon basically trying to get Yoshitatsu in trouble, and the flirtation with Tatsu and Maurice continues, but Ted DiBiase Jr. ends up running in and brawling with him on the thing, sending him into equipment cases and other weaponry. Basically, the idea being that there's going to be an eventual match between these two. JTG and Vladimir Kozlov are both talking about how bad their respective pros are. Then we go back to the ring a little bit more wrestling heavy this time out than in previous or recent previous weeks. Highlights from 2 weeks ago. Hornswoggle in there, and Hornswoggle and Titus O'Neil seem to kind of have a bit of a good run with each other, for lack of a better term. Darren Young and Titus O'Neil going at it for what seems like the third or fourth time through this. Anyway, there continues to be good feelings as it relates to Hornswoggle, and this turns into a tag match. So you got Titus and Hornswoggle against Chavo and Darren Young. Titus and Chavo in there with each other looks kind of good. They then do a couple of comedy spots. Obviously, what are you going to do with Hornswoggle that does include comedy sooner or later because of the size differential? And obviously, he comes in, does some basic little person comedy spots. It's sad, too, because he understands the psychology of the business a lot better than many full-size people. Anyway, they do the mock test of strength. Hornswoggle in there trying to do athletic things, but also get a comedy reaction. The desire for things to go back to the full-sized individuals is here. Then we see Darren Young get power slammed by Titus O'Neil. O'Neil, however, kills kayfabe for a minute when he doesn't go for a immediate cover. Ultimately, that doesn't look very good, hiding under the ring and basic stuff here. Chavo comes in and beats down on his man, and then you see some cheating, and ultimately the heels get the victory here, or the heels almost get a victory, but Chavo manages to get his leg bit by Hornswoggle, and Hornswoggle manages to keep that going pretty assertively. Gonna grab my phone. We'll be right back right after this. And eventually there is the move towards Titus and Hornswoggle winning yet again. I mean, Titus certainly in this particular role at this place in the company, even though it's I wouldn't say lesser show, but a reduced level show, is to be in a position of moving forward and being, for lack of a better term, company valuable. And so that moves forward. Then they go to a long Raw segment with The Rock and John Cena, which I certainly understand hyping that, but at the same time, why have a program with unique talents and stars if you're not going to utilize them? Ted DiBiase Jr. is here, and ultimately they give him what amounts to a 3-minute confrontational match with what ends up being Yoshitatsu. Obviously, the issue between Tatsu, DiBiase, and Maurice is the backdrop for that, going in that direction. Maurice does seem to, or at least manage to, look reasonably partially concerned about the outcome of the match. Obviously, that storyline plays out over a couple of weeks, but again, very basic things, punch kick by DiBiase, and he's very aggressive on Tatsu at this point. I don't honestly remember Tatsu being a major force in 2010-2011 story arc, but maybe I'm misremembering because it's a decade ago, who knows. Anyway, spinning back kick among other things, and DiBiase managing to take a couple of slaps and shots that he normally wouldn't take. Tatsu gets cut off and brought down relatively assertively, and then we kind of see DiBiase go to the second rope on the inside, hitting the double stomp that Tatsu's hit in the past, and the double stomp, almost like a Finlay or Kevin Sullivan double stomp from the ropes, is an interesting thing. Referee is annoyed and frustrated at the cheating of DiBiase, but doesn't actually do anything with it, and issues with Maurice and DiBiase persist as we close this particular edition. We'll be back with more right after this.